Sai Ram students, welcome to another English literature class. And in this class, basically, we are going to continue with our poem Amanda. Yesterday, we completed our explanation part. I taught you the entire poem, and today we will be dealing with the literary devices of the poem. So, what do you understand by literary devices? Basically, they are also called as the poetic devices. But, students, before I proceed further, let's just have a short recap of what we did in our last class. So, basically, we studied about this girl, Amanda, who is nearing her teens. Maybe she's close to, say, 11, 12 years. Okay, and she has her own way of living her life, which actually her mother is not okay with. Okay, her mother wants her to, she should know the way to carry herself in the society. So when Amanda is biting her nails, when Amanda is just lazing around, her mother doesn't like all these things. She's constantly nagging at her. Amanda, don't do this. Amanda, don't do that, which actually Amanda doesn't like. Then also she is constantly asking her, Amanda, did you clean your room? Did you complete your homework? Did you clean your shoes? So, why do you think her mother is doing all these things? Just because she wants to dominate her? No, that's not the case. Her mother is teaching her how to be independent, how to learn to do your things all by yourself. Okay? Then Amanda is basically not liking all these things. If you see, in the very first stanza, the mother is questioning or asking Amanda to do certain things and to avoid doing the other things. The next stanza, which happens to come in brackets, basically is the point of time where Amanda slips into her own world of imagination, where she is not even bothered what her mom is telling her. Okay, sometimes she wishes to go into a sea and live there like a mermaid. Then she feels, how I wish I was Rapunzel. I would have gone and stayed on a tower all by myself. And yes, she also mentions that I would not let my hair down. Why? Because Rapunzel did the same thing, and that is how the witch used to climb up the tower. So she says, I will not do that mistake. I want to live all by myself. I don't like anyone telling me anything. Okay, so I want peace. That's the reason I will not let my hair down. So she wishes that how I wish I was an orphan. Why? Because she's not liking her mom being around. Not because not physically, but what happens is she's not liking the way mother is continuously questioning her and continuously pestering her. Which she actually dislikes. So that is what was the poem all about. Just short recap that I have done. Let's get started with our literary devices. So, quickly go get your book and a pen so that we can begin with our literary devices. To begin with, let's start with the rhyme scheme. Now, rhyme scheme is not something new to all of you. We also know how we have to identify the rhyme scheme. So, let's get started with the first stanza. This happens to be your stanza number 1, and this is the imaginary world that Amanda slips into is your second stanza. Clear? Now pay attention. How do we denote the alphabet? We look at the sound, we look at the ending. Here Amanda, Amanda, Amanda. The sound of da, da, Amanda. Okay. So we will give it alphabet A. Again, Amanda over here sounds the same. So we'll give it A. And this Amanda is also the same. Look at this line. So straight doesn't sound similar to Amanda. That's the reason we will give it B. Clear? These three lines, see me blissfully, the sound of E towards the end, correct? So we will give it C, C, C. So the rhyme scheme is A, B, A, C, C, C. I hope students, I am very clear with the rhyme scheme. Moving on to the next stanza. Next two stanzas. Do it yourself, come on. Look here. Again, Amanda, Amanda, and Amanda. If you remember, Amanda, we have already denoted A. This becomes A, and A. Okay, in our last stanza, in our last two stanzas, we had completed with C. So this particular line, which this word shoes, it does not go or it does not rhyme with Amanda. So we will denote this D. Clear? These three words over here, street, feet, and sweet, will denote E, E, E. So the rhyme scheme is A, D, A, E, E, E. Clear? Let's proceed further to the next stanza. Okay. Again the same thing, students. We have Amanda. That's A. Basically this Amanda will come down. Okay. This Amanda should come in the next line. Clear? So we have this word U. So last we stopped with the alphabet E. So this will become F. I hope I'm very clear, students. This Amanda will come down to the next line like how we had in the previous stanzas. Now look at these three lines. These three words, care, rare, and hair. They sound similar, so we'll denote them. After F, we'll have G, G, and G. So this makes it A, F, A, G, G, G. Students, don't confuse yourself. In your textbook, this Amanda comes, on the next line. Moving on to the next stanza, that's the last stanza. Again, we have Amanda, 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 and again we have Amanda over here. Okay, so this becomes A, and this U is the line where this particular is the word where this particular line finishes off, and this Amanda is basically over here. Okay, so this becomes H, and this is A. Clear, students? In your textbooks, I repeat, by mistake I have typed it over here, but this Amanda has to come here. Okay, so it's A, H, A. Clear, all of you? So that is the rhyme scheme of your poem. Proceeding further with the figures of speech. Now, look at this particular stanza. What are the figures of speech used in this particular stanza? The first one we have anaphora. Now, what's an anaphora? Basically, if you see these two lines, the very first two lines I'm talking about, when you have the same word in the two lines, continuously in the two lines, if we have the very same word, that figure of speech is called as anaphora. Clear? So don't bite your nails, Amanda. and don't hunch your shoulders, Amanda. So don't and don't, two lines are having same word as the beginning, so that makes it anaphora. Coming to the next one, assonance. Now what's an assonance? When the sound of the vowel is repeated. Now look at this line. Don't hunch your shoulders. Okay, so here the sound of O. In your we have O, and shoulders we have O. So vowel O, the sound of vowel O is repeated. So that makes it assonance. Next is metaphor. What's a metaphor? Metaphor is indirect comparison of two different objects, whereas simile is direct comparison. So here if we see, use of the word emerald sea for green color of sea being similar to the color of emerald. So what did she say over here? There is a languid emerald sea. Okay, so the color of this green color is given to sea. Clear, students? Okay, so what explanation do we have? Use of the word emerald sea for green color of sea being similar to the color of emerald. So here the emerald is used as comparison to the color of sea. Clear? Moving on to the next is repetition. So in these lines, look over here, these three lines, Amanda, Amanda, Amanda. So the word Amanda is getting repeated. So that makes it repetition. Yes. Then imagery. What is imagery? When you create images. You remember your five senses? I had discussed this in our previous poem. So when you have images using your five sensory organs, that particular figures of speech is called as imagery. So when she says drifting blissfully, we can create those images. We can create that image in our mind. That's the reason it is called as imagery. Then we have the next figures of speech, that is alliteration. What's an alliteration? Look at this line. Stop slouching and sit up straight. In alliteration, the sound of the first alphabet is repeated. So here the sound of S is repeated for better poetic effect. Okay, and the last one is an allusion. What's an allusion, students? Basically, allusion is a brief and indirect reference to a place, to a person, to a thing, or maybe an idea of historical, cultural, political, or literary significance. For example, if I tell you, you don't have to be William Shakespeare to write poems. So whose reference am I giving you over here? Of William Shakespeare. Okay, so that is called as an allusion. So here mermaid, here she is referring to mermaid, which is a well-known imaginary creature. Okay, so she is referring to a particular person. It can either be a particular person, a place, a thing, or an idea of an historical, political, or cultural significance. Clear? Moving on to the next stanza. Okay, again it's anaphora. Why anaphora, students? Look at this line, these two lines. Did you finish? Did you tidy? So again these two lines, the continuous lines, okay, they are beginning with did you and did you. So that makes it anaphora. Next is assonance. Okay, the use of the vowel sound O. Pay attention to this line. Thought, told, you, to, your shoes. So can you see the sound of O is getting repeated? Yes, so that makes it assonance. Again, the word Amanda is repeated. If you see the three lines, the first, second, and the fourth one, we have the word Amanda repeated. Next is metaphor. Look at this line. The last line. Silence is golden, freedom is sweet. So here silence is compared to be golden. It's indirectly, there's an indirect comparison, and freedom is compared to sweetness. Metaphor. Silence is golden. Silent is said to be glorious like the golden color. Okay, and freedom is sweet. Freedom is said to be sweet in taste. So there is indirect comparison between silence and golden and freedom and sweetness. Proceeding further. Again, we have allusion. Why? Because here she speaks about Rapunzel. Like I told you, who is Rapunzel? I'm sorry. Rapunzel was a fairy tale character. She's a fairy tale character. Yes. Okay. So again, that's an allusion where she's referring herself to Rapunzel. Next figures of speech is assonance. Will you please look at me when I am speaking to you? Again, the sound of vowel E and O. So again, O over here, O over here, O over here, and again over here. Again, please, E, me, when speaking. Okay, so what's happening over here? The vowel sound of O and E is getting repeated. So what is when the sound of consonant is repeated, what is it called as? It is called as consonants. Yes, we have assonance, we have consonants, and we have alliteration. Yes, the next one is assonance. So sound of R is getting repeated. Look here. I am Rapunzel. I have not a care. My bright hair. So R, 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 and R is getting repeated. Clear? And again, the repetition of word Amanda. Moving on to the last stanza. So very obvious one is repetition. Clear? And the next one is alliteration. So what's alliteration? The sound of a particular alphabet is repeated. Clear? The first alphabet of the word. Stop sulking at once, Amanda. So stop sulking. So sound of S is getting repeated. So that makes it alliteration. So these are the figures of speech that we have for this particular poem, and we come to an end of the literary devices. Next that we have is the value points of this poem. Clear? Just go through the value points, students. Value points, again, they are giving you the summary of the poem. Okay, so that's it for this particular poem. We will see you in the next class, students, with another lesson from your textbook. And with this particular video link, you also have another link which will take you to a set of questions which you have to answer. So till we meet next, students, take care of yourself. Sai Ram and bye-bye.